one, I have picked my favourite picture, I think, from Wonderful Wildflowers by Johanna Basford to start colouring today. I say I think because, you know, it looks like my favourite. I thought it was, but once I colour more, I might change my mind. Now, because it's really near the front of the book, I haven't got much to lean on. So I'm just going to grab another Johanna Basford book to put underneath there. So I've got a bit more of a solid foundation to lean on. There we go. And I've got a piece of paper behind the page, as I always do. Now we have this cute little door, and I'm just having a little look. So we've got a sort of surround going around here as well. So that's something I need to think about colouring too. I'm in two minds. I'm either going to do a sort of coloured door, sort of magical looking, or do something just wooden. And I can't quite decide, but I think I'm very tempted to go for the sort of magical look. Now I've got my Polychromos today, so that's what I'm going to start with. I think we're going to go for, let me have a little look and think. I think I'm going to start with the door, and I'm going to start with a violet. We're going to go for a magical door. Let's come in a tad closer so we can see all of the door only. We don't need to see all of the other things at the moment. There we go. Let's move across the tad. So I'm just going to put a layer of violet all over the door. It's not going to be my only colour, so I'm not pressing too hard. So don't do that. If you're colouring along, just do a gentle base, and we'll layer up as we go. Colouring around all these little bits and pieces is a little bit tricky. What I think I might do is colour some of them in a bit and then come back to the door. I might do that. Have a think. I've got this idea about what colour to do these florals as well. It's going to be dramatic. It's dramatic as a colouring page can get. Anyway, I hope you're all good. Some of you might have your books by now. A lot of people asking me how I got mine so early. I did put a little post out to explain on my socials that there's a UK bookseller who sends things out as soon as they get stock rather than waiting for release day, and I always order from them. They're called Waterstones, and they have copies in their shops. Not all of them necessarily. You can check stock online to see what shops they've got copies in, and they've got copies online as well. So I have had mine on pre-order for ages. Since I realised that they send out early, I always pre-order my Johanna Basford books from them. So I've also got her next book pre-ordered with them, and her the affirmation cards. I was a bit sneaky. I pre-ordered them all together, and then I only had to pay one lot of postage for all three items, even though they're not being sent out at the same time. So that was quite good. You do have to pay postage however much you spend. It's not like Amazon where you get free postage if you spend over a certain amount of money. Yeah, you have to pay it, but that's okay. They're a smaller company, so I don't mind. I don't know whether they ship to other countries, and obviously it would take longer and it might not be worth it. And they are generally a little bit more expensive than Amazon. And if they reduce their price, you pay the price you paid when you pre-ordered. They don't give you a refund, as far as I'm aware. I haven't had one anyway, and they've put their price down. So that's just the way it is. A smaller company, you know. Right, that light layer, I'm going to leave that and do the flowers, the leaves, and then come back to the door after. So it's really rough. I just sort of changed my mind, to be honest. Flowers. Flower one. Well, I've got 4 colours I'm going to use for flowers, maybe 3. Yeah, 4, that wasn't the right one. This is the light dark cadmium orange. We're going to do some flowers in this colour. Orange and violet. Orange really pops on top of purple. I'm going to fade to the tips though. And so I thought it would be rather fun to have a sort of real, as I said, dramatic type colours. I just thought it would be fun. I do like colouring a door, but yeah, I've only given it such a basic effort at the minute. But I'll get there. I just feel that I wanted to do this bit first. I'm going to go darker around the centre, like that. Now I'm going to do, actually I'm going to use 3 colours. So I'm going to sort of vary it a bit. There. I haven't counted how many flowers there are. I ought to really. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to have 3 flowers of each colour and 1 extra. That's okay. There we go. And yeah, I think I'm going to do this one. I had thought maybe I'd do the ones that look the same in the same colour, but I changed my mind. Quite happy just doing it this way. Now when I do orange flowers, I usually, I can do this one as well, I usually do an olive coloured foliage. I think it matches really well, but I don't think it matches violet at all or claret. It's just going to look a bit odd in my opinion. So I'm going to do more of a mid-green, I think. I'll have a think about that while I'm doing the rest of the flowers. So there's my first bunch. Then we are going to go to the orange glaze and do some. I might do this one here. Again, I am trying to fade towards the tip a little bit, but you don't have to get too worried about that. Just do it how you want to do it, how it looks best for you. I wonder if this is one that Johanna's going to colour. She's coloured a few. I've seen a few that in some of her marketing material, as you call it, you know, on her socials where she's promoting the book. But wasn't this one. So I'm wondering which one she's going to choose to colour as part of her book launch type videos, you know. I think I'll go here next. So we'll see, but I'm quite excited. Sometimes I colour along with her, but often I don't actually. I enjoy watching what she's doing, but because she doesn't tell you what colour she's using and things like that, it's quite difficult to colour along with her. So I often colour and watch her, but I colour something else. Or just do my own thing, you know. But I don't know, I haven't seen anything from her about what she's got lined up yet, so that I'll be looking out for that. If you want to find out too, the best way is to follow her on Facebook and Instagram, and she posts, and it might be in her newsletter. I don't know, I'm signed up to her newsletter. I haven't had one for ages, but I suspect she'll post one very soon, because she'll want to tell us about the book and that sort of thing, I'm sure. I did struggle getting signed up to her newsletter, I think. No, it's her website I struggle with. This is the cadmium orange. I'm going to do the remaining ones. Yeah, I struggle to, you know how you can post pictures on her website? I tend not to. I used to, but I tend to just post them on socials. Yes, where you can do that, I couldn't get my password to reset properly, and I don't really know why, but her technical team helped sort me out. But it was a bit weird. But yeah, it got it sorted in the end. But I've got a little email somewhere with the password in so that I can go and cut and paste it, because it's like 20 digits long or something, all sorts of random things that I can't remember, you know. So there are flowers. Now I want the flower centres to be quite intense as well, so I'm going to pick this dark cadmium yellow. I'm going to do them all the same. There we go. Now just getting my pencils muddled up, our foliage, oh, dropped my pencil then. I'm going to use the leaf green first for the vines and for the beginnings of the leaves, and then I might use something lighter on the tips just to vary it a little bit. So leaf green, Now, if you don't have Polychromos, which I am using today, obviously, I do have some comparison swatch charts in my Ko-fi shop. You can go and grab and find the equivalent colours in other sets. The links to all of that is in the video description, so you can nip down there and find what you want. But if you struggle, message me, put a comment in the video or whatever, and I can help you find it. I respond to every comment. I find it harder to respond to comments on comments, if you know what I mean. A fresh new comment I see, but if you comment on someone else's comment or reply to my reply, it's a bit harder for me to find. I do get there, but I have to look in a different place, and basically YouTube have changed the way they do it. They used to email me and I would see there was a reply to a comment and I would be able to go on to it. Now they don't, so I have to remember to look. This is light green. I'm going to finish off these little leaves. So yes, I have to remember to look, which is never a good thing for me, to have to remember to do something. So sometimes it takes me, I suddenly go, oh, I haven't checked there for ages. You know what I mean? And then there's a bit of a delay in replying. So if there's something you want a response to urgently, start a new comment and just go, I need this. Yeah, maybe not in such a panic. So I'm going back to my violet. And if we look at the way this the door has been drawn, not the drawer has been drawn, we can see there's lines here from Johanna here. I'm going to colour those a bit darker and see how it looks. I can always colour the whole of it this dark if I think it looks a bit odd just doing this bit, but I'm going to give it a try, see what happens. Like this. There, we'll do the top bit too. Now it isn't a particularly dark colour. I was thinking of going a bit darker, but we'll see. I've got a few ideas and plans, so we'll see how this looks. My tongue stuck out then. It's hard to talk with your tongue out. Now I'm just going to go around the edges of these little bits, make sure we've got some violet everywhere and in the sort of gaps and things. I think we have. I think we're okay. Like that. And what I'm going to do is in this space where there's less colour, I'm tempted to put a little bit of something else. I'm going to go for some light magenta. I'm not going to put it on too hard. I'm just going to put a little bit in there. Sorry, we're getting a bit sliding down the page. Just a tad in here, just to lighten it a bit. I mean, to pink it up a bit. It's not going to lighten it. I don't know how much you can see. I actually feel like I want this door to be a lot darker. So once I put this little bit of pink on, I'm actually going to go over the top of those darker areas with a darker colour and then go over all of it with the violet. So I hope don't worry, it's not as complicated as I made it sound. So I'm grabbing my mauve. I'm going to go over the top of these dark areas with the mauve. Like this. Now I do want quite a dark colour for the door frame and window frame as well, but we do have some other, we have like the blue violet or the Delft blue, so I shall make up my mind in a bit as to what to do with those. So just darkening all of this. There we go. Yeah, that's that. And then grabbing the violet again, back to our violet. And I'm going to go over all of it, so it's all going to become much more intense. If that mauve doesn't look dark enough, I can go back over it again. It looks like I might have to. But I just want this door to be quite dark. Now, I'm doing vertical lines when I'm colouring because I figure that that matches the lines that are drawn on here already, so I think it works quite well. If you see some stripe, it sort of looks like it makes sense. Obviously you can't do it everywhere, you've got to fit between the little bits of the flowers and that sort of thing. Yeah, our dark area is disappearing, isn't it? But that's okay. We can keep layering until it works. Now I have heard a few complaints about Johanna's paper when her last book came out. Not so much this one, because no one's got it yet apart from me. Haha! No, that's not true. No one that I've seen online that I haven't seen anyone's reviews of it yet. I think I'm recording this on Sunday the 2nd of November, and the release date in America is the 4th and in the UK is the 6th. Now I'm sure some people like me would have got their copies from Waterstones a little bit early, but I haven't seen anyone online saying they've got it, so I haven't heard anyone's opinions on the paper. Now last book people said that it didn't work very well with Polychromos. Now I did do one page in my last book in Polychromos, I think, and I didn't have a problem with it, but sometimes I feel like I'm not as experienced as other colorists and I don't notice so much, but I do notice some papers. I notice Lulu Mayo's paper and Millie Marotta's papers are really shiny and difficult to get colour to sit nicely, but I don't notice that with this paper at all. So yeah, maybe it's just the way I colour or the types of pencils I use or something like that, I'm not sure. But anyways, whew. Yeah, I'm still quite excited about having this book. It's lovely to have it nice and early and to have a new book to play with. I've sort of been waiting and it's been annoying, you know. I'm going back to the mauve. I'm going to put another layer on top of this and see if I can make it show up a bit better. I think I can, look. Yeah, because I've been like, what do I record? How do I schedule videos? You know, what am I going to do? Because I'm just waiting, that sort of thing. And it's been a bit tricky, but now it's all good. And I have it, so I can start to organise myself, if that makes sense. And so that's great. And I'm pleased to be able to sort of get started. Right, let's have a look at that. Yeah, what I think it needs is some more lines. I'm going to extend some of these lines because I feel like I want it to look like it's sort of wood and it's got quite a few sort of marks in it. I don't like just having that little bit at the top and bottom. I've decided I want to have a bit more. So I'm going to put it all the way through. Don't have to, but I like it to just look a bit more woody and old and sort of gnarly and cracked and that sort of thing. There we go. I think that makes a bit more sense with the lines that we've got. But I'm just going to put some shadow underneath the lock and the window. But I think we also need, whoops, shadow underneath the flowers. I'm not liking this. I'm very tempted to just make it all dark. I'm just going to extend that dark bit more and see whether I like it better. I'm just sort of fiddling a bit now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to sharpen my pencil. I'm going to do a dark bit all the way around the edge so that it looks a bit more like it's sat back from the door frame. And then I'm going to make a decision, I think. Maybe I'll do the door, colour the door frame. That might help me with my decision. but I'm just going to make this darker so it sort of sits back a bit. Got to do a horizontal line here. Yeah, I'll do the door frame. I'm going to use the blue violet. And I will do it around the window as well. So this little tiny bit around the window here, blue violet, you can see it's much darker colour. I quite like using a darker colour for a frame. It just seems to make sense. Now this frame is much bigger, so what I'm going to do is try and fade it a little bit towards the centre to try and give the impression that it's a bit rounded, but I don't know if I can pull that off. Give it a go, because of all these plants around the edge makes it a little bit more tricky. So I'm just trying to put more layers on the outside, less in the centre. Got to go around everything carefully though. Someone knocking. Yes, someone wanted to get in. They needed something from in here. Oh dear, whoops. Right, apparently they'd messaged me on my phone and I hadn't brought it in. Never mind. They didn't find it very funny, I did. No, my son's going off for a driving lesson. He needs a sellotape to take the L plates onto the car. Yeah, the L plates I bought, the magnets aren't particularly good, but also the boot of our car isn't made of metal, so they don't work on there, so I have to tape it into the back window. It's not ideal, but they managed this. The back window doesn't have very much visibility anyway, so they can put it in a place where you can't see, I think. As a driver you can't see, but as someone following you can. So they're going off now for a driving lesson. Yeah, they've had to take an alternative route because where they will usually go there's some sort of protest happening and roads are closed. So they don't want to get involved in that at all. I don't know if it's likely to get nasty. Some protests do, some don't. But I'll read about it in the local news later. But yeah, not a nice protest. Well, anyway, let's not get political. And let's move on quickly. Right, so here's our door frame. Oops, gone out of view. So for me, I think that looks okay. It's looks a little bit 3D, and we have a bit of shadow around the edge. I'm happier with that now. I'm much happier actually. But I need to think about the window frame. But I'm thinking maybe if I do the doorknob handle and the window frame in the same colour, they'll sort of match together. But I'm thinking about whether I need some shadow underneath our flowers. I'm going to still think about that while I do the door furniture. So I want a cold grey. I think I'm just going to try and make them look a little bit silvery. So this is the cold grey 3. I'm going to make the handle, we've got some marks drawn on it, but I'm going to make it darker at the bottom, a little bit at the top, and then just sort of fade it up like that. I think that's a bit pale. I might do this bit pale here as well around the lock. I might get a slightly darker colour, just the next one up. Oh, I'm going to throw it. Hang on. My pencils are out of order. What's that? That's the warm grey 3 next to the cold grey 4. Something's gone a bit wrong here. Hang on. Someone's been putting their pencils away in the wrong places. I wonder who that is. Cold grey 4. So what I'm going to do around the window is try and do what I did around the door frame, but it's a smaller space. It's going to be a little bit trickier, but I'm going to give it a go. So just do a dark line all the way around the edge to start with. Nice and straightforward. And then do one around each of the little panes of glass. Now you might find there isn't enough space. Just do what you can, the best way you can. The sharper your pencil, the easier it'll be, but just as I say, just do the best you can. Make sure the colour goes right up to the edge of the black line. I'm just going back over it to make sure that I've done that. Like that. Then the bits that are left, there's a bit more at the bottom than the top. I'm going to go back to the other colour. I'm going to do this bit first, and I'm going to put some darker colour underneath the handle here where there'd be a bit of shadow, like that. Then, going back to my cold grey 3, I'm going to fill in the gaps here. I'm going to go quite lightly because I don't want it. I want you to see that there's a difference in colour, and because these colours are quite close. And same here, just a lighter layer. So that one looks darker, even though it's the same colour. We can layer it up a bit more anyway. There we go. So there's our window and door furniture. Shadow under the flowers, yes, yay or nay? I think no, because I'm a bit confused, because this one is cut off by the door frame and this one isn't. So is the flower growing on the door or is it painted on the door? Yeah, don't know. Gonna leave it. Just gonna leave it there. But we do have this other arch outside of the main part of the door. And I'm thinking I could go with a pink. I could go with a lighter purple. But it's going to be like a frame for the things that are growing over it. So I do need to give it some thought. But I think if we're going magical, let's go pink. So this is light magenta. I'm going to do this frame in the light magenta. And we're just going to see how it looks. I'm thinking, why not? Let's just go a bit out of my comfort zone. I mean, I'm still going to colour the leaves green and the, you know, that sort of thing. I'm not going too far out. But let's just, you know, make this look pretty. So like this might be the wall of the house that the door is in, and why wouldn't it be pink if you've got a purple door, you know? And I think, you know, we can do our mushrooms would look okay against the pink and things like that. I think we could get it working. Now my next decision, which I haven't thought about one little bit, is what on earth am I going to do with all these flowers and leaves? Now, am I going to stick to a colour scheme? You know, maybe just do all the flowers blue, all the flowers red. I'm not going to do orange again. I'm not going to do any more orange. I've decided that for sure. I won't be doing purple or pink either. So I've got a more limited choice. There's yellow. That yellow on top of pink. No. I got a bit nervous then. No, don't make me do that. So we could do other pinks, but I think that might be a little samey. I'd say we could do red, which would be quite bold. Blue is still in my head quite a lot. I know some people really dislike blue flowers, but I'm thinking with the sort of pink, purple, orange, I think blue just feels like it's going to work. But I wouldn't make them all the same shades of blue. And I'm just thinking, you know, because I mentioned red, but I think I'd quite like my toadstools to be red. I think that might be quite nice. I'm also thinking about this window, and I'm thinking it needs to be, I feel it needs to be yellow with nice warm light shining through. I'm just going to sharpen this. I've got quite a few little teeny leaves to get around. Oh, I can't quite see. Sorry. Yeah, there's nothing special going on here. I'm trying to get an even layer and I'm failing miserably. So I'm going to do something a bit different in a minute. Try and make it look a bit better. But do you think it's a little fairy house? Who lives here? Fairy? Animal? Badger? Rabbit? No, they live underground, don't they? Mole? No, that's really underground. I don't know. Not sure. There's a flower here and I'm thinking if it's blue will it match? Yes. I mean, I know I sort of clashed that one, but that was to make the door stand out. The rest of it is just the frame. It's not supposed to be that. I want the centre bit to draw the eye, if that makes sense. Right, it's not very even at the moment, and that's fine. I'm going to come out a tad because as the book moves around, you can't see. What I'm going to do is where the door frame is, I feel like I want that to be standing out from the house. So I'm going to go a little bit darker there. I'm going to use the magenta, which I know is quite a dark colour, but that's okay. Let's give it a sharpen. So this is the magenta, and of course I know it's going to match the light magenta. I'm going to put a little bit here, like that, and then just fade it down a bit. So I'm hoping it'll end up looking like a little bit of a shadow from the door. I'm hoping. I'm not feeling it at the minute. Let's put a bit in there. I think that's working looking up at the camera, but looking at it with my eyeball on the actual original, it doesn't seem to be working that well. So I'm trying to just fade it out a tiny tad. Like all the way around. I can't believe it's November already. I've been thinking about Christmas. My mum's like, what do you want for Christmas? Oh, my flipping heck. Not swearing. But yes, it seems too early. Okay, now we do have a bit down the bottom that Johanna's put lines on as if she wants that to be darker. But what I'm going to do is go over what I've just done and then try to just make the colour get paler as it goes to the edge. But that bottom bit, I might just do a bit darker, like that. So go over this, keep putting quite a few layers on here, and then just make it less towards the outside. I find that easier than trying to make it look even. But if you'd rather have it looking quite even, that's fine. Do it that way. It's no right or wrong. When it comes to colouring, there's just your own personal taste. Now, I was asked a really interesting question by Rabia, and she said to me, you've got your new book and you just started colouring in it. Why weren't you afraid of ruining it? Now, it was a really interesting question. I've never been afraid of ruining a book. I never have that fear, because even if I mess up a picture, it doesn't worry me too much. I just think, oh well, I'll just make the next one better. So I have that sort of laid back approach, which is just me and my personality. So I think that's a little bit difficult for me to say just do that. But also, I did have a new book once and I was a bit worried to start it. This was before I started making videos. My husband said to me, look, just go for it, and if you ruin it, I'll just buy you a new one. Go on, colour it. So that was something. But also, I remember Johanna Basford talking about this, saying that people buy her books and then they don't want to colour in them. And she said that made her sad, because she makes them for people to colour and she wants people to use them, not just look at them. And so that made me think quite hard as well. But the thing that motivates me the most, which is very difficult for Well, there are two things. The first one is something you can, is that I like being the first person to colour a particular picture. Like if I'd seen this picture coloured by somebody else before I started it, I would immediately start thinking, oh, I'm never going to make it as good as theirs. Do you know what I mean? And I would get like, oh, I can't colour it because theirs looks so amazing. I can't make it that good. So it's really lovely to start before that happens. And once I've started a book, I don't get that so much. I do sometimes with pictures, and I just delay doing them for a while. Okay, I'm done with my pink. I'm trying to think where to go next. So I want to make this a sort of series of 2 videos, but I've got no idea how long the first bit was before I stopped it when the door got knocked on. So I think I'm just going to do this little area under here, and I think then the rest will probably make a good second part. That's what I'm thinking. So this is just leaves. Now, I had considered doing all the leaves the same colour, but I think that's going to be a bit boring to colour for me personally. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to mix it up a bit. Now, because most of the leaves are going to be near the flowers, which I'm probably going to do blue, but I may change my mind. So, you know, we'll see what happens on the next video. I'll start doing flowers. These might need to be blue-green or colours that match blue. Whereas down here, we've got nothing near it, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to do these in olives. I love olive greens. So I'm going to start with my permanent green olive on these and do them in olives, and then, you know, just enjoy that colour. Now we've got these little lines. So what I'm going to do is start at one of these lines, make this really bold, and then fade it down like that. And I'm going to work through the leaf doing that. And hopefully it will just give our leaf a little bit of texture, interest as well. And it makes it more interesting for me to colour it. If you don't want to fade it this way, you might want to fade it from the centre to the edge. You might want to fade it in the other direction. You might not want to fade it at all. You might just want to block it in. It's completely your decision, but this is just for me a fun way, I think, of colouring it like that. And we're just going to do all of them in a similar way. And whether you start low down or high up on your leaf, whether you go upwards or downwards with your fade, whether you switch it halfway through the leaf. I was thinking about doing that, and then I couldn't decide where the centre leaf was, so I thought I'd just do it all in the same direction. It's, you know, lots of little decisions you can possibly make. Yeah, another thing about confidence in colouring in a book for me personally is that I want to get videos out. I know that you've been waiting, and also it's nice, it's so fun being like the first one to get videos out that I know of. I haven't seen any others yet, so I want to get them out. And so that's a huge motivator for me, and it's really helped me actually. And of course that doesn't apply to most people because most people don't do that, but just sort of being honest really with you as a sort of motivating factor. That other things are that I've never ruined a book, in my opinion. I've ruined a page. I've coloured some horrible pages, and I've showed you them. And sometimes you agree with me, sometimes you don't, but that's absolutely fair. And I want to be honest with you and say, look, this page in this book was a disaster. However, I coloured the rest. Sometimes I've managed to rescue pages that were really bad. Other times I just haven't had the motivation to try and do it, and I've just left it and gone, oh well, that one's rubbish, you know. And I'm lucky enough for it not to worry me. So when I do the page next to it, I look at it and go, ugh, that page was nasty, but let's move on, you know. And I always think because colouring for me has always been intended to be fun and relaxing, and so I can't let it stress me, or else it just wouldn't be that anymore. And I think my videos would be very different if I was trying to be a perfectionist all the time. And some people are on video, you know, they make everything look absolutely superb, and that's absolutely fine. But that isn't my aim. My aim is to try and make it easy for you, fun and relaxing, rather than going for, let's make this the best version of this picture I can possibly do and spend a really long time doing it. That isn't what I'm about. You know, I have had an idea that I might take one picture and then colour a little bit on it every day for a month, like an hour a day for a month, and see what it comes out like, because I never spend that long on a picture normally. I am now going to use the earth green yellowish to do these bits around the edge. I'm just going to block these bits in, I think. Yeah, so I have thought that what would it look like if I spent much longer on a picture? Would it be worth it? Would it look that much better? But I haven't got round to doing that. It's not the right time at the moment with the new book out and a few other things going on as well. But one day I might play with that experiment. You know, an hour a day for a month is quite a long time. But imagine that's 30 hours on a picture when normally I might spend an hour to 2. So that's a huge difference, and I wonder what difference it would make to the finish, you know. I don't know whether I would just get really bored or whether I would think it looks amazing, you know. And I'd have to carefully choose the picture as well. Probably one that I've done before perhaps, so I've got a bit of an idea. Right, this is the May green. I'm going to use that for the little bits of all the bits around here. I'm going to try and fade them to the tip, because it would mean that I could burnish a lot more, put down a lot more layers of colour. But would that be worth the effort? Would it look any better? I could spend longer thinking about what colours that I was putting down. Would that be good? Or would that just make me question my decisions all the time and not actually... Oh, that's broken. Oh, I know why it's broken. My book isn't underneath that bit of the... you know, I put a book underneath. It wasn't... it slipped, so it wasn't actually underneath that bit. So, oh, let's get that sharpened. Hang on about. I think I've got a lead caught. Oh, whoopsie! Yeah, I've got a lead in my sharpener. That's not helping matters. There we go. And a bit of a mess. Hang on. I'm going to get my brush. See, it doesn't all go well. So let's just brush that off. Let's just brush that debris to the side of the desk. In fact, I can brush it back in. No, I was going to try and brush it back into the sharpener, but I think I'll just end up with it in my lap. That's not ideal, is it? No, let's make sure there's no lead in the sharpener now. I've just spilt some more bits on the desk though. I could have cut this out of the video. I like to leave things like this in so you can see that I'm real. You know, just like you. There we go. Right, back to our May green. I made a bit of a mess there where it broke as well, but hey. So I'm trying to fade it to the tip, but these smaller ones, it's very difficult. Gosh, it's 12:30 already. And I told my son that that's the time I wanted to have lunch. We've all got to eat together today because I bought some avocados. I'm going to share them. Nice. So, right. I am going to leave that for today. I don't know if I like that pink. I'm not sure. Let me just hold that up there. I'm taking a little photo. It looks better if you tip it up a bit. There we go, photo. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that pink, but I'm going to decide once I've finished doing all the rest, because I think if I try and mess around with it now, it's a bit early and there might be bits I need to fill in and it might just work in the end. Who knows? We've got stars as well. We've got to do a night sky. Don't think so. I'm not going to do too much. We'll see. I could do. Right, I will have a think. But thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and happy colouring.